Welcome everybody to Freewheel Station. We start off, and maybe we start off like with very low in the background, like the soundtrack. And the soundtrack in this case would be like Jackson Gamble's Golden Touch, probably. And you've got like it's kind of low. And we started off, as the camera sort of like focuses in, we see the outside of the Freewheel Station. But then we do a quick, as we sort of like slowly zoom in, we fade it kind of fades into a black and then fades back in on Kib and his room, and the camera is directly over Kib's shoulder. And what's Kib doing, and what is his thing look like as the camera follows him, and the sort of like soundtrack like sort of amps up in the background.
Okay, well, he's looking over the two con. He's got two data things next to him, and he's going back and forth, transferring things and working things out, and then pulls up the drive and it's like, "Yep," shoves it in his pocket, looks at his watch, and then he gets up, walks out the door, and the camera follows him walking down the hallway, going to the engineering
Hmm.
area type thing. And he goes in there and he kind of looks over everything, checks on everybody, he randomly talks to people, checking up, trying to get updates on how the statistics of the station are doing and everything's within order and whatnot. And after that, he kind of gives him the little thumbs up, like, all right, looks at his watch again and he's like, all right, you don't hear what he says. And then he leaves, and it follows him down the hallway as he makes it to the operations office. Um, he walks into who's ever on shift that at that moment, and he goes up to him and he's like, talks to him for a few minutes, and that guy gets up and walks out, and then he takes his spot in the chair.
Hmm.
And um, and the camera sort of like pings off of like buzzes away from Kib and sort of spirals around, does a quick scan of the room. We see all of the people for Lichdom and for the Grimbuckle Syndicate at their stations, like some on their consoles and their headsets, moving about. And then the camera sort of buzzes around, flies, and goes to the
The
office
Office.
where we see Philip, and the camera begins to sort of follows Philip. And what's Philip's day look like here as the soundtrack is now fully up.
Philip is already drinking Irish coffee as she is currently telling the day's plans to both Colovian and Defron. And she picks up a big pile of paperwork on her desk and throws it back down sort of angrily and steps out into the actual ops area. And as you follow her, she walks by Kib's station and scratches him lightly behind his ears before she goes out and heads to the office area where Silver Soul is there waiting on her to have a meeting. And she starts that, and it pans back and forth between those two. And she keeps getting interrupted. She keeps having to pick up her comms and then set it back down and apologize. And you're seeing all that through, her vivid arm movements.
Right.
And then she heads down to the shipyard where you see her yelling at a couple of more employees, ones that you haven't seen before, and pointing at her tablet because they're behind schedule. And then she throws that off of the docking platform that she's on and stomps off towards the casino. And as she makes it to the casino, she stops long enough to talk to the guard outside, and it suddenly starts panning again, swirling around, and we find
Maybe the camera buzzes around, and sort of like you see like the crowds moving, like going back and forth, like lots of different aliens. There's the reptilian extangi with their sort of like triangle shaped heads, and there's the some celamids, these sort of like oozy gelatinous creatures, and there's a few elves and a few orcs, a couple of goblins. There's some Vesk and some human and some androids, and the camera just sort of moves through this crowd, and you get like the sort of like feeling of like busyness as we see the shops in the background with their lights flashing and people going in and out of them. And it kind of buzzes around and looks right over to Besmira's Den, the casino, and flies into the casino, where it pops up right behind milliseps. And what do we see our into colony friend doing? Like what is he doing when the camera catches up with him, and what does his like sequence look like?
All right. Well, at
Or there,
first
I should say.
he's in his office signing paperwork off. He looks up for a moment, um, throws a guy a cred stick. He walks out, leaves a package on the desk. You see Milliceps gets the package and delicately pushes it up under his desk before he stands up and starts to make his way down into the lower deck where the storage was for when the casino was opening up. Um, there, you see basically what looks like a construction crew setting up a large, like old school style rope ring.
Okay. Awesome. This in like your ballroom chamber?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And they're setting up the seats for it so people can come in and bet on fights and whatnot. And we have Milliceps walking around and making sure everything's going at pace before he makes his way over to Allie, I believe.
Yep.
Yep. Before he makes his way over to Allie and looks up at her and just like, so how? And he starts to talk to her about the fighters that they have coming in and all that kind of stuff. And then he shortly after leaves to continue to manage his casino.
Well, and the now the camera is following Allie. What does
So
Allie
the
good look like from here? What
so
is
the
this
camera
sequence?
kind of like flies, like it tries to fly back but can't seem to track um alley. But what ends up happening is you see a person playing like some sort of casino game, like slots or something, and um, you see him slip something into the machine, and then quickly like something comes up on the screen saying like cheater. But then like as he starts walking to the next machine, like it just keeps coming up, 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 and until the person's like forced to just like walk out the building basically. And you can see red eyes on Ali as Alistair watches this person leave the building basically. And then it cuts to you see like those like those holographic like lights shoot up for like the stage that we have,
Hmm.
and you can see basically like someone putting out like uh like a fire that shot off, but like you can see like Allie in this one with green eyes, like kind of instead of like being like ordering everyone around, instead it's like being shown how to do the job because he's freaking out. And then it kind of cuts back to her bedroom where there's a giant plush panther and bear, and she's just like getting ready for bed. And finally, the camera pans up to a body hitting the ground and her coldly looking over someone, and that's where I would leave it.
Yeah, and maybe like as the soundtrack starts to like kind of mellow a little bit and kind of like get that sort of like muffling effect to some extent. Maybe we see um maybe we see like off the like there's almost a camera pullback from the camera, and we see that the camera we've been following has been Ha this whole time. um Ha has been effectively our camera up to this point. And Ha buzzes off, and we get and then we get like at the bottom, we get like the screen sort of fades black as we see like, you know, alien species pressed, against each other, going this way and that, bustling back and forth between residential working places, places that, that they're actual, like the casino, the nightclub, the different shopping center, shopping, you know the different shops in the shopping center and what have you. And then it kind of like muffles out to down to nothing, and then we get across the screen it says 48 hours ago. And we cut right back to where we left off at the end of season of last episode, and we see this ship that is we see this these two ships like firing at each other, and we see one of them blown up, a bigger one blown up, and the smaller one is sort of its engines are sort of like are you can tell the engines are damaged, and there's all kinds of alerts going off like proximity and whatnot, because the shell of this thing is sort of heading towards the station in a not terribly slow way. Philip, you're at you are right there on the front deck. How do you what is your response here? Like what do you do as as you see this ship that is not blown up but is clearly not functioning right, heading towards your ship, kind of like out of control? It's not like it's heading directly like nose first at you. It's more like it's spinning in your direction, in a kind of almost sideways motion.
I look at Defron and I say, activate thrusters and get us out of this thing's way. While you're doing that, Kib, come with me. Go see if we can give them a leg up, or at least figure out what's going on. In fact, honestly, while we're doing that, first we try to hail them.
You hail the ship. All right.
Woo!
It takes you at first. You only get at first you're only getting some staticky image and some audio, and it's kind of a little breaking up. It's like you're like
Kib, see if you can clear that up.
it's like it, yeah, Kib, go ahead and give me a computers roll here. See what you can do with it. All right. Yeah, you're able to get that. You're able to get that. Sort of done, like whatnot. Um, you get it cleared up, and you get got issues. You're like engines are out. Took a damn hegemony, and it's still cutting out some. You're getting a lot of and a lot of like straight dead air kind of stuff. And he's like, could
Attention,
use
alien
that.
vessel.
I have a feeling their communication skills might have been damaged as well in the process of
Right.
whatever they
Well,
did, though.
honestly, they sound familiar too, but that could
Yeah.
just be just his voice.
It could
Eh.
be.
I'm trying to get to my character sheet, but apparently Roll20 decided to freeze. It's thinking about it.
You're getting a lot of,
All
but
right, but anyway, attention, alien ship. You are on a collision course with my station. I don't like that.
not much we can do about it on this end for right now.
Finally.
Yes, last shot took out the lateral thrust and balancing thrust and maneuvering thrusters. He's
Who are
trying to
we
get it
talking
back on.
to?
He's like, there's a bit of like, you hear a bit
I
of,
am High Chancellor of Free Will Station, Philip Defoe.
you
Who's
get
this?
there's a bit of like a tussling sound. You hear and then you hear a different voice. It's like, look, he's like, look, I'm the captain. Punjik is the name. All right. He goes, the you were talking to my communications officer. I have rerouted them to work on damage control. And I'm Captain Grutter, Punjik
Okay.
Grutter. He's like, he goes, I'm from out of the Lufridge system.
Hmm.
Not trying to bring trouble to your doorstep, but a little bit of help here might be a bit nice.
Right, we have the facilities right now to fix your ship. Permission to come aboard? Lend you a hand to get you to our docking bay?
You got a way to stop us from spinning and getting us back on track before we do it ourselves. We're all grateful for it.
All
He goes,
right.
This is
I pick up Kib and I'm like, we're on our way. ETA 11 minutes.
all right. Cool.
I
So,
literally pick him up, carry him
all
down, put him in the pilot's chair, and I'm like, get us there.
right.
Temporary scramble and then realize what's happening and like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a
I have longer legs.
yeah, and I think as like you get out there and you get to your shuttle, and I'm gonna need if you're trying to get caught up with them and be able to try to find some way to
Yeah.
dock with them. Is that the
I'm
plan?
giving I'm giving the help check on piloting.
Okay. You are
I'm
not
no
much
help,
help.
Kib. Kib, be excellent pilot.
You're probably going to need a couple of piloting checks here.
All right, let me try again. There, I'm a better pilot, friend.
All right. Give me another check, Kib.
Well, that's a 14. Let's do one more. Fuck,
Yeah.
Kib. All right, one more.
So what's going on
It
here?
ends up taking us way longer. That's why our thrusters have already been activated in this whole thing, and they are moving out of the. So
Uh,
if it takes us 2 hours to finally get latched onto this bad boy, and they haven't got themselves evened out by then that's what we do.
all right.
Let's take
So
20 this time.
you guys are gonna. So the problem isn't so much that you're a bad pilot or anything like that. It's the fact that this thing is kind of spinning. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to line up the trajectory to be able to dock before it and try to climb on board to help with getting the engines back in check, which is what I'm assuming your plan is there.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
go on. We're gonna fucking help them do engineering, get them from
right. Yeah. So
and then we'll
you
dock them at Lichdom Shipbuilding Corporation.
yeah, it takes you quite a bit of time, and like after a few tries, you realize there's nothing to it for it, but you're just gonna have to do the calculations hard. You're
Ooh,
gonna have to. You're not gonna
I
be able
don't
to
know.
eyeball this. You have to like actually do all of the specific calculations, and the math takes a minute because you're figuring a spinning object in
At
space,
some point
your own
after we miss
velocity,
this third time or
positioning.
whatever,
Yeah.
after we do that, I holler at them and I'm like, so apparently between me and my pilot, we can't land at the moment. We're trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. We got to do the math. It's going to be longer than 11 minutes.
He's like, He's like, yeah, we're gonna try to get that back under control here. He's like,
All right. And if you do, then we'll land faster.
he's like, we've got the.
Ooh.
He goes, we might have to go digging for some parts here. We might have to cannibalize something.
Well, as far as that goes, I already have people headed for those spare parts. And
He's like,
like I said, I hand him a card, or no, I send him the commercial. I know you don't probably have time for it now, but this is what we do here. We make ships, so we
he's
also
like,
fix ships.
he's like, yeah, I don't exactly have time for the brochure at the moment. He goes, and
Sorry, have it.
your station is moving very slowly out of the way. It has caused like some traffic control issues. You can hear like a bit of radio. You can hear the radio chatter on your other like comms channels of like the
It's an
station and
emergency
yeah,
situation. Everyone
yeah,
should have been put at full alert when it started happening. I mean, that's why all
yeah.
those alarms were going off.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
Uh,
yeah, it's confused pilots, and
yeah, yeah,
radio
and
chatter
I'm
from ops
remember
and
that I
yeah.
look at Kib at some point while we're doing all the math, and I'm like, remember, we need to have a pizza party for the peons.
He's a
In a second one, we already had one scheduled for like a week out.
so
Well, yeah, but this is a high stress situation. Any of them that are of age? Oh wait, we're in the middle of nowhere. Make sure everyone that's working for us gets a drink after this.
uh,
Right.
so
Well, you know what I mean.
after some maneuvering and a combination of by the time you're able to get it lined up and whatnot, there's not much left of the engineering to do. Like, you happen to sub in a couple of parts, to help them out, but you're able to get it limped back. Um,
To
like,
Lichdom structures, yeah.
so let me get an engineering check from Kib here to see
He
like what.
one. It was a 33.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're able to get it to limp back to the station. And we'll get back with that meeting here in a second. Millicept and AL. It's been a few months, and there's a lot that's been happening, and you guys have been really busy getting the casino up and being very successful and whatnot. Um, but there's
Business
also
is
been
good considering the area.
there's a lot of things that have been going on. The war between the Girin and the Velquin Empire has been heating up. Um, both Philip Defoe, Kib, and Death Arms are accused of assassinating a perfume magnate in the League of Helladis. There's a lot, and there's a trade embargo in the League of Helladis with the Freewheel Station. They won't do business with you guys right now. Um, the Verilax Concordance is still like has stuff going on there. You understand that Kib and Philip went to different missions to different places, and
They were
both in the
gone for about
League
3
of
months.
Helladis. Yeah, they were in the League of Helladis, and then they were in like Verilax Concordance, the Vescarium. They've been a couple of
Planet
places.
T.
Um, you know, but they right now, the Pact Worlds, the Marixa Republic, and the League of Helladis won't do business with you. The Garian Empire has never done business with you because they're human
Racist.
supremacists and they think you're all scummy. Um,
Makes sense.
but the Velquin Empire, from what you understand, one of the councils, one of the like ruling councils, like contacts in the Velquin Empire, a countess was assassinated. Um, and there's been a couple of other dignitaries and powerful individuals in different places who have either disappeared and then disappeared under mysterious circumstances and then returned, or died under mysterious circumstances where their deaths are debated as to what happened. Um, the You are aware that the syndicate sent there is a member of the syndicate that was working in a different place and has been sent here. A
Oh
dwarf woman named
god.
Dovry Forgecore, and she's mouthy and a little racist herself.
Yeah,
Um,
she's actually not a lot of fun to be around.
she
Mm.
has a particular hatred of elves. Um,
Yeah,
never
she's
misses an
very old
opportunity
school in that racism.
never
Yeah.
misses an opportunity to exclaim that elves are all pansies.
Yeah, just a
Um,
couple of days ago, she almost got us all killed.
uh, but there's been a lot going on here, but the other things, the more positive things, is there has been set up a merchant council for all of the business owners and managers that now exist on the station, including yourselves, Millisipt. If you are effectively a member of this merchant council. And its basically purpose is to sort of address the concerns of all of the sort of like mercantile, operations, and be able to sort of codify and express all of those and organize to be able to present unified sort of like ideas to the ruling council of the station. You guys have a extra line in on them because you're syndicate, but um, you know, the way that you um like I don't know, maybe give me some sense motives and perception checks between the two of you, because I want to see what you guys have figured out about you probably some of this stuff is probably a little obvious, but um
How many sense motive checks would you like?
uh I think give me a sense motive or perception, whichever is better for you, either of you. So
Sense motive or perception. Yeah, it would be sense motive.
Okay. Um, yeah, so you're already seeing within this some, you're already seeing within this some contention. Valen Sewer of the Gemfish Trade Consortium does not while he's professional, he does not seem to like Zerk Silversoul, who represents the Paperleaf Tea Trading Company. He likes you guys. You're pretty much the only people on there that he has a decent working relate that he's friendly with, for the most part. Um, but you can already see that, like, and there's a few other members that have just been added to the council. You haven't had a full meeting yet with the new members, because a lot of the newer shops and the nightclub, they don't have, they've been busy, doing their setup and haven't been able to haven't been able to make a meeting yet.
They haven't
Um,
paid their dues either.
so, they're still getting in on the ground level. So you've got opportunity to sort of like, um, I don't know, express yourselves as sort of more senior members of this sort of like merchant council, since, like, obviously Valencer and Sor and Zerk Silver Soul came here ahead of their businesses even being able to open. And Bortz doesn't seem to have any interest in a representative on the council. No one seems to even know who's supposed to be in charge of boards, but that seems to be pretty typical of their operation. Um, so looking at this right here, looking at what's going on right now, like, what kinds of things would you like to um, sort of like open up, like get into? Obviously,
Well,
Sester's on the council as well, but she's sort of aloof about it.
obviously, war profiteering.
Or profiteering. Look,
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room. Let's just address it. Half these meetings are going to be about ways that we can profit off of the war in a, let's say, legalese sense. You know what I mean? You get
so,
what I'm saying?
so what specific kinds of war profiteering businesses are you trying to get into? Are you like, you run a casino? Are you trying to sort of like set up? Are you trying to play middleman for people, or are you trying to like set up places, sell it, renting spaces for people to do business, or are you getting directly involved with some sort of like operation? Like, what does this look like?
Well, I was kind of thinking of modeling it off of the old school adventurer guilds, except for not quests per se, but bounties for you to go and pose as particular members of the army and assault other troops or other ships as they entered and left out inside of the war zones. And you bring back what you find on those ships, and the casino pays out a certain amount of money based on what you found and what you brought back to us, and we keep the tech and resell it after restoring it and or you know
Partying it out.
So
yeah,
you're
parting
actually,
it out.
so you've got, have you basically like taken over like the sort of like dealing with the pirates and stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, can I suggest that also we open up a way for them to gamble on different crews that are going out for who brings back the biggest haul?
Oh yeah, that
You
would
want to
be
do a
cool.
Deadpool?
Yeah, let's do a Deadpool.
so you guys are actually running numbers on how successful the different pirates and stuff are going to be. Awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. I love the idea that you're just like, you've got like like, what does that look like? Do you have like a digital tally board somewhere? Like, is there a place where like pirates specifically like check in and tell you guys like, hey man, I'm gonna put some money on myself. I'm going out. Is there like, what does this look like? I love this
It
idea.
Yeah, it's basically people put money down on the table, and they put it down on mostly people that they think are going to go out there and either die or not come back with enough loot in order to claim it. And they're basically declaring that this person will be unable to do it. So it brings that kind of gambling thing to see how far the contestants can go on the spectators end. Whereas a pirate can put down any amount of money saying that I'm better than this pirate and I'll get more loot than this pirate. And, if he gets that, then the amount that he bet would be doubled or tripled on the pot depending on how the odds stack.
Okay, so if like how codified is this? Is this one of those things where they just walk up to the bar and tell the bartender you want to make a bet? Do they have to go to a special like do you have like a window for that specifically? Like is there, how does
Is there
that
like a
I'd
board
say,
or screen?
yeah, what do you
well,
like
there's a screen that displays all of the statistics and whatnot, but I would
it,
set aside a section of like the casino for just booths where you can go in there and consult with bookies.
oh, nice. I love it. You have your like a professional bookie operation. You
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, you're like which bookie do you want to go to? Nice. I like it. I like
yeah.
it. So
And that's mostly
you,
what the casino's profits are going towards, by the way.
Don, so maybe like it, and are you do you have like stuff for like do you have a separate betting pool for people who are just like smugglers and blockade runners, or is it all just like under one thing? Like bet
You could
on
say
what ships go out and how well they do, or is it a codified bet on with you where you've got like margins for every like kind of spacer or something, different bookings for different like betting for different kinds of spacers.
I think um I think the idea for smuggling is a great idea. I'm going to say we're going to have a dedicated, betting pool in the future, but for right now, they are, fully eligible to just participate in the dead pool itself.
Right, right. Yeah, so I think and I think maybe like you are kind of like have noticed that Zerk would normally be here. Zerk Silver Soul, the Paper Leaf Tea Trading Company, would normally be here about this time, but he's not. But somebody else who's much more noticeably missing is Captain Percival Worthy. Not 5 minutes ago, he comes. Maybe one of you walked by him and he was commsing Philip about a contact he was supposed to meet. Um, but he seemed a little like, but maybe you saw or maybe you didn't see like where he kind of like looks at his comm at some point and goes, "What the?" And then he kind of he takes off and he gathers himself. Um, he gathers himself and takes off and leaves the casino. Seems to be in a bit of a hurry.
Hmm. Well, you definitely don't see an elf rush like that nowadays.
Well,
Um,
Captain Worthy is human.
oh,
Zerk is an elf. So
that's
you
right.
got that. You got Zerk right on elf, but he, hadn't come in at all today. Worthy came in. You also have heard rumors. You've also seen that there is a investigator here. The Baron Lesib of the Velquin Empire is here, and he's brought a an Imperial investigator with him to investigate the possibility of a leak on this side as to the travel arrangements of his sister, the Countess, when she was assassinated. Um, you haven't quite met him yet, but you understand he's a kind of a very different individual. Um, but you've heard different rumors thus far. Uh, But what is it like? How do you react to the fact that Captain Worthy, who's generally very, very like sociable and, very, likes to talk to people and whatnot,
Yeah, yeah.
sort of has collected himself and left the, sort of casino.
I'd probably ping Ali and say that something is happening on the station. Maybe we should make our way and follow the captain.
I will reply. All right. Um, I'll pick you up. I'll meet up with you, basically, and we'll follow.
All right.
That was
Um,
Alistair.
and yeah, gotcha.
And I think as you're, Alistair, as you're about to like turn and as you're about to turn and walk out and whatnot, um, you know, you actually turn around and find yourself looking at an SRO that looks very with a singular visor for a singular visor instead of eyes that sort of has like a light flickering on behind it and there's and a but this SRO is wearing a suit like a butler style suit, and there is an android behind him um, that looks that was very 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 like almost like too attractive features. But he's got like vibrant red, he's got vibrant like ruby colored hairs, and his skin is like sapphire. Um, and he's dressed somewhere like he's dressed like somebody who like his clothes seem to be very fine cut and richly made, but they also look like he's been wearing them for a while. And they've got a bit of a worn look. And the SR looks at you and is like, "Excuse me, but I am Wintley 44, and I would like to speak with you on behalf of Seven Regal 7, the Android Prince." And he gives you, and the SRO gives you a slight bow and awaits your response. And he's wearing a top hat on his head too. It's kind of funny looking.
Okay, so this guy basically cut us off from following the captain.
Well, not necessarily you specifically, Alistair, before Alistair even met up with you.
Yeah, you're being a bit too formal for my taste. What do you want?
I'm sorry. But the android prince, Seven Regal 7, has heard of you and has heard of your bondage and servitude, and would like to and the android kind of like puts his hand up and kind of pushes Wintley 44 to the side, and he goes, "What my friend is trying to say here is that our people, synthetic life forms, have been mistreated, and we have been historically looked down upon. Even in civilized places like the Pact Worlds or the Marixa Republic, we've only enjoyed rights as citizens for what, maybe 50 years? This is and the Girin Empire continues to enslave our people, and we are a people, regardless of what some may say. I was rather hoping that you might join the cause. You see, we're interested in getting our people, helping our people escape bondage from the Girin Empire. We've been trying to set up a channel to do this. We haven't been able to get a hold of or contact the station's management here, as it were. We tried but missed them on a couple of different occasions. I was hoping perhaps that you can either help us gain an audience, or at the very least you can conduct the spirit that they're rumored to have and help us secret a few refugees to various points. We have places that we have places that we have safe houses, but we're ultimately looking to create our own nation among the stars, our own kingdom, as it were. We're hoping you might be in on the building blocks of this.
That was a mouthful. So here's the thing. Word of my servitude is grossly exaggerated. I am under contract, and that is the conditions of the contract are amenable. That being said, the things that you're asking me about in terms of passing on the spirit of your message and whatnot, I really could care less. That being said, like, what are you willing to, what are you willing to give me in return?
Well, for one, help out with this. You're assured a position in our empire once we're able to our empire. Been listening to the Gurren, the programming that the Gurren instills rather pervasive. Our own kingdom, we're a bit more modest than our former masters and would-be masters. But in the interim, we are prepared to offer at least a certain amount of credits for material support, smuggling refugees through the station. If you're able to help us keep it secret, quiet, and help us make sure that we're able to shake the Gurren Empire should they come looking. I'm not asking you anything easy. I'm not into asking you anything safe. I'm asking you something extraordinarily dangerous and extraordinarily difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. You seem rather pragmatic, and I was hoping your pragmatism alone might see you to help us our way, and you'll have to understand credits are limited, but there are sums available.
It's not the credits I need. I'm under contract for information, and I need information.
You're hoping to gain some information? Well, we
Well,
could.
since there's a lot of androids, I'm sure word gets around about androids. The one thing about me is I need to find out more about my particular model.
Particular model. I think we could. It might take some doing, but we have friendly contacts among the Android Abolitionist Front and the Pact Worlds. There is the possibility that we could look into something like that for you. Uh, we would need further details. In fact, were you in fact designed and built on the come to your physical birth in the Pact Worlds? Mercs or Broblik? I'm assuming since you appear to be modeled after the humanoid form that you were designed by humans or very close to.
I mean, I should hope so. I mean, they'd be kind of, from what I remember, one of my former owners was human. Yes. The thing is that um, most of our kind all have souls. No? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
So
that
here's
is
the
the difference.
so the thing is, I have multiple personalities, and I'm the only one
Interesting.
aware of it. The thing is, I want to make sure that I am the the true soul, if I have a soul.
That's a very interesting and technical question. You'll have to give us as much detail on what you remember from your past as possible. We'll check with our contacts in the Android Abolitionist Front, and to be thorough, we'll check with our contacts in other in other nationalities and ports of call.
I mean,
This
I
is
can forward you some diagnostics.
like I would that would definitely be helpful. This is he says, could you, he says, I understand that we've probably caught you while you're busy. Is there a time we can speak later about details of where refugees are meant to go and how the transition between our people and your safe house, and your operation will work?
Yeah. Sure. But the diagnostics, here you go. They're forwarded to you. I'm sure. I'm at the casino all the time. It's fine.
He's like, he's like, he's like, he goes, I will look into this for you. There probably won't be very quick answers, just so you know, it could take a while. But I will, but if it helps you and if it helps you and it helps you help our people, then I will definitely be looking into it. He says, and he kind of turns around and looks at Wentley, and he's like, he goes, come along, Wentley. He goes, we've got other business to attend to. Um, he says, we have another contact we have to meet here. And Wentley is like, by all means, your Highness. He goes, let us be, let us, let us move on to the next, to our next business. And he just kind of like, Seven Regal Seven shakes his head. He's like, I keep telling you. He goes, and as they walk off, it seems like there's some old conversation that's happening there.
It's a familiar
Um,
duo right there.
yeah, it's like, but yeah, you are able to move on. Millicept, Alistair, AL, whichever personality is in control, is running late at this point. But eventually, AL, you do show up and catch up with Millicept.
Hey,
Um,
um, sorry to keep you waiting.
it's fine. My character's going to approach the captain and just be like, "What's going on?"
Oh, well, by this point, like you get to when you get to the did you go to ops or did you go to the dock to the
I just followed
shuttle
the
bay or
captain.
oh, Captain Percival? Oh,
Yeah,
Captain Worthy, sorry. Captain Worthy just kind of looks at you and he's like, I'm not sure. He goes and he stops to talk to Ninvers for a minute and he's like and he's like, why did he goes, what am I he goes, what's going on? I was trying to talk to Miss Depfoe. He's like, I was trying to talk to Miss Depfoe and got cut off. And Ninvis is like, kind of looks at him. The human looks back at him and says, well, there seems to have been an incident, man. Like there's some ships and there was like some shooting and some explosions and a lot of, you know, telling captains to move back and forth and move their ships like and and whatnot. And well, Miss Depot and Kib went to the shuttle bay and took off to go like one of those ships is like spinning and they went to I think help him or something. He goes, and Captain Worthy is like, well, at least that gives me the basics. And he's like, um, and he's like, Ninvis. He goes, may I check the log for today's arrivals? And Ninvis kind of looks at him. He's like, I don't know. I'm really not supposed to. He's like, come on, buddy. He's like, you know that the council, the council likes me. You say I'm sure they'll be fine with it. I just need to see if there's one name on there, and then I'll move on. And Ninvis is like, and he's like, fine, okay. And like he takes a look at the logs and he goes, damn. And he's like, and he's like, and he goes, well, and he answers that question. And he's like, he turns around, he looks back at the two of you, and he's like, I was waiting for a contact to arrive, but their name isn't on the list for today. I wonder what that, he goes,
You think it
there's,
was
it's
that fella that they went up there to help?
a good possibility. He's like, and I think he like calms us over. As a like calms us over to you guys as you're just as like Philip, you guys are just limping the ship in. Like it's that like you're just finishing limping this ship in. Um, and the crew of this ship is goblins. Like it's um there's like maybe one or two hobgoblins and one orc on board. Um, but like the most of them are goblins, and certainly Captain Grutter is. And but you get a comms from Captain Worthy, and he's like, Miss Deptford is what seems to be the problem. I was hoping that is I was hoping to find a contact of mine that was making their way here today, but I wasn't entirely certain if they'd made it yet. Uh,
Hmm.
what seems to be going on out there? Ninva says there's some kind of commotion,
Is this before or
explosion.
after we got on board the other ship?
Well, this is where you guys are on the very last part of getting it limped in. So you've been on board.
Okay, so we've been on board for a while.
Yeah.
So, curiosity, Captain. Um, who was the other ship that was attacking you?
You're talking to Captain Grutter.
Yeah,
He
Captain
goes,
Grutter.
he goes, damn hegemony of long tusts, warship. He goes, they've been following us they've been trying to track us down and follow us for weeks on end. Caught up with us. Somehow they managed to get a hold of our jump coordinates. I'm still,
Excuse
he
me.
says, he says, there was a leak with it. He says, there was a leak within he says, I think they probably caught one of our cells, the last one we was at, and got a bit of information out of them. I mean, they
Hmm.
can't have gotten much, well, not enough to hurt my operation too bad, but it is going to cost me some money, and I'm certain this is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm certain this is going to cost me some money here. Is
Yeah,
is
we can make an arrangement if you don't have the credits to get fixed up.
is like currently he goes finances are a bit of a sticky situation. When you're on the underground, it's a little harder to figure out what exactly um you it's kind of a little harder to figure out exactly where you're going to get the credits from. We got some. They're just tied up in other assets at the moment.
At that point, if Milliceps is present, he would just be busting out laughing.
No, I mean, this is a conversation that's happening on the other ship. So,
Oh,
True, but were these technically listening in? Because this is like the question I'm asking. Because I was like trying to make sure it wasn't the other guys that got blown up that was Worthy's contact.
he's, I think, like,
So I relay that information to Worthy, of course.
he's like, he's like, and he's like, and is that Captain Grutter I hear in the background? He's like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He goes, yeah, and he goes, Worthy? He goes, he goes, damn, I thought I beat you here. And then he's like, he's like, and I think
Oh,
Percival
that's
Worthy is like,
hilarious.
he's like, Worthy is like, I suppose we'd best talk business once you've landed. And he's like,
I turn to Grutter and raise an eyebrow, and then go back to doing what I was doing.
he's like, he's like, like I said, assets are a little tied up right now.
Hmm.
And he's like,
Well, if Worthy knows you, you have a bonus.
he's like, uh, he's like, Worthy knows everybody. I don't know how he does it and manages to not fall into any of these any of the few petty feuds that goes on between half of these pirates and whatever else smugglers like, and I'm not sure if that he goes I'm not sure if that if that how that old Cade runner managed to beat me here, but I guess there's a reason why he's got his reputation.
Mm.
And he's like, he goes, anyway, he's like, this is all a lot of, he goes, this is all a lot of bullshit. He goes, "Yeah, obviously my crew are gonna probably need some place to stay while this thing's in the shop. And the reactor core is, well, you guys got it to where it's not leaking so much radiation, but you know, magical
Kip should have had that
radiation ain't
stopped.
exactly. Yeah, Kib, I think it's one of those deals where for you were able to get it tightened as best as you could, but it actually needs to be docked for you to be able to fully repair it. Like
Like,
you
We're
need
if
to
almost
you
be.
there.
exchange buckets every 30, 40 minutes of all this stuff leaking out, you might be able to make it a little bit longer, but the bucket's going to be helpful. You got a
Like,
bucket? Yeah, just slide it right there. There. See, it'll work for now till we get it landed somewhere. Yeah, it'll be good.
it's like he kind of looks at you, Kib, and he's like, "Eh." He goes, "Well, he thinks like and he kind of looks at you. He's like, "Well, at least he thinks a little like a goblin. I mean, not not fully. He seems to be a bit smarter than about half my crew." And he looks over at like one of his at the hobgoblin, who looks down at his feet. And um, he's like, anyway, he goes, I'm sure you got a lot of business outside of, keeping errant ships from hitting your damn station. Sorry about that. Couldn't be helped. He goes, but he goes,
Excuse me.
but like you feel the dock, like you feel the deal dock, the ship dock and what have you. And he's like, I think he goes, so who do I talk to about the details on getting this thing fixed? Do I need to talk to that one right there? Do you have a foreman I need to talk to? Who am I gonna need to talk to?
Uh, I slowly turn my head towards Kib, and I'm like, technically, the best one to talk to right now would be this one.
Eh, and
Slowly raise my hand as he kind of finishes that last sentence as I'm still trying to work with the other hand and then bring it back down to work more.
he's like
Mm.
he's like and Pungent Grutter is he's an unusual goblin, to
Is he
say the
6 foot
least.
tall?
No, he is not.
Okay.
Um, he is generally speaking normal goblin size, but he has orange skin, and he's got three horns growing out of the top of his head. They're small, and they're not uniform in direction pointed. They're not uniform in what kind. Like one looks more goat-like, one looks more like it came off of like some kind of lizard. Another one looks like it might have been off of a bull. None of them are very big, but they're there. They all point in different directions, and they all seem a little different. And he's like, he's like, so he goes, and he's also beefier than most goblins you've seen. Like he's um,
Looks like
it's
he's got a
kind.
habit.
Well, he's almost. I mean, he like his upper body like has this massive, like his shoulders are like almost disproportionately big, and so are his arms and his chest. Like his upper body looks almost comically big, given his short stature and the rest of his, the lower half of his body, you know. Um, but he kind of it and he's like he probably goes over to you, Kib, and he's like, so what is this gonna cost in terms of and maybe he kind of starts having a conversation about like the details for the parts and the fucking, whatever, to get the thing fixed. And since you have access to Lichdom's shipbuilding facilities, like you can do this fairly quickly. Like it's a job that should take an entire retrofit or an entire refit, but because you're have a place where you can fit a ship in the first place, you can obviously retrofit it. Um,
Yes. Yeah, we're into
so
upgrades.
yeah, so
But as
um,
far as all that goes, we'll take out trade and favors if we need to.
yeah, there's a
It's
uh,
always nice to have, an autonomous set of
and I think there's a yeah, I think at some point uh, Captain Grutter is kind of like, so where am I gonna? He stops and he's like, you know what? I got one better. He pulls out his comms unit and he comms us up. He's like, he goes, yeah. He goes, Worthy, where you at? And you're there, Milliceps and Ale, when Worthy gets the comms back, and he's like, Captain Grutter. He goes, hey, do you have what I asked for? Oh, absolutely excellent. He's like, thank you. He goes, he goes, I can probably be found. I can. You know what? I'll be uh, I'll be at the casino for the rest of the afternoon. And you're hearing the one side, and you guys that are with Worthy are hearing the other side with Grutter. And he's like, no, no, I got what you was talking about. No, okay, so where you at? Hey, are you gonna miss you gonna miss that drinking contest at Boards later? Nah, and on the personal worthy side here, it's like, oh yeah, no, no, obviously, there's there's a Mister. It goes and miss a chance to see Kra Hara in a drinking contest against, well, really anybody, but fuck is it? But against Mossus? He goes, of course I'm gonna go see that. No, I've got money on that. He goes, and you guys would be aware of this, Milliceps and Ale. You guys would be aware because you would have heard a certain amount of rumor just floating around sort of the merchant circles. There is apparently a drinking contest that is supposed to be happening at Bort's tonight between uh, a member of a reputed member, a reputed bon vivant, and member of the Amber Wreath, Kra Hara, um, and a Nuar uh, and a Nuar gladiator named Mossus, who is a member of the Winged Chalice, who are followers of Arshay. So, like,
I
you're
put
like
10,000 credits on Kib.
in one kib. But yeah, like there's a like this has drawn a bit of like attention. Like it's your big competition for tonight's entertainment, dollar is this thing going on. Like
Right.
there's a reference. It's like and I think they're uh and I think like Percival Worthy kind of looks at the two of you and winks and goes, I don't think either of them have, having looked at the logs, I don't think either of them have shown up yet today.
Hmm.
Means they should be arriving sometime later today if the contest is for not for tonight. And on your
Well,
end,
they probably should be here already.
well, on your end, Philip, you hear like Captain Grutter, like, because he kind of capped his comms unit, so he didn't say, so he, didn't like wasn't transmitting that to Captain Grutter or whatever. He's like, but Captain Grutter is distracted looking at you guys. And he's like, you who? Yeah. So, who you guys got money on? Says, I hear this Kra Hara. I hear he's one of them Gansey.
Yeah, where would I place a bet for that?
He goes, oh, down at Bort's. And he goes, and well, he like actually you wouldn't have heard him say that because he's on the other end. Grutter is
Oh,
yeah, but
It's all right. We're
um
docking now. We should be on the platform fairly
yeah,
soon.
yeah, and fucking but like you know uh on your end you hear like him talk about like you hear Captain Grutter ask you how much money you like who you'd put money on Philip like that's who he directed the question to. He's like who you put it like rumors got it that this Krahara is a get one of them Gansey touched by the chaos and what have you. He's a
Hmm.
he's a rumored dilettante and sensate. They
What are the
say,
odds on both these guys?
well,
Well,
it,
technically, that's what. Technically, that would have been something that probably would have already been brought up.
he's
So,
like, well, he goes, the favorite, like Krahara's the favorite, obviously.
and that's the
Goes,
Noir.
nope, that's the Gansey. The Noir
Ah,
Mosses. Now, Mosses, there's got a lot of people who figure that Mosses will make it. Body weight in the whole 9 yards. Plus, Gladiator, lots of drinking. Follower of Arshay adds to that reputation. But for pound, if your body is part chaos, I don't see how you're gonna lose this, especially if you spend as much time drinking as this guy does.
hmm. Actually, I have bets on both of them.
He goes,
One way or the other, I'll come up at the very least even.
well, he goes, fair enough. He goes, me, I'm putting my money on put my
Krav
money
Maga.
on the. Nope. Actually, I'm gonna put it on Mosses. See,
Hmm.
I got a little extra personal to spend, but not a lot. So it means if I'm gonna put money on something like this, I need a bigger payout.
Well, as
Plus,
far as that goes, that's good because if you win, that means you'll have more credits for me to fix your ship.
if Mosses wins, you know, plus, I got a feeling if anyone can beat this guy, it'd probably be. The logic says it'd be somebody like the like Mosses, you know. And I think for your side, like Percival Worthy probably asks you guys a similar question. He's like, or actually, he probably asks you guys like, so you have somebody that's going to be down there to monitor the results of this drinking contest. I assume that you've got a betting pool on it.
Duh.
yeah. I'm probably going to be headed down there shortly myself.
He's like, he's like,
Well, and the problem, of course, is sports doesn't necessarily have to play by the rules. So,
he's like, it's like, Boards makes an interesting venue for it, but I'm surprised you haven't. He goes, I'm surprised you haven't tried to make a deal for the rights to for the the rights to host this competition. He, I mean,
Yeah.
is there a particular reason or He goes, or
Yeah, there is a particular reason that I am not at liberty to say as of just yet.
all right. He goes, all right, fair enough. He said, this is as personally, I plan to be there to witness it live myself. Should be an interesting matchup. I'm putting it on. He's like, I'm putting my money on Krahara. I've seen him drink in a couple of drinking contests. Never wise to bet against him. Made that mistake once. Lost a fair chunk. He's like, and I think like maybe the ship is docked at this point. Like he didn't has, but the docking for the like shipbuilding is different from passenger docking, regular
Yes, it
like
is.
traffic. And the shuttle bay is a completely different area too.
Yes, it is.
So
It's on the other side.
so
Mm.
I imagine so when you get
Actually,
so you would
no, it's too far.
probably I was gonna say you'd probably like uh did you guys just leave the shuttle like afloat
No.
and have somebody go pick it up, or did
Remember, we
you?
finally got attached. That was part of the
I
reason that we got him here. So,
You're not going to be able to dock it with with both ships docked.
so at that moment that we have to, we will, Kib, go park the ship and home,
All right,
and we'll wait for you at the thingy.
all right.
Like we get
So,
the ship set up, I run out, go on the shuttle, drive it in to where it's supposed to go, and then wait for them to show up.
Well, you have
There's,
to come
there's,
across the ship because remember when we added on the shipbuilding, it's on the other station.
yep.
yeah.
And for
But it's still a pretty straight path. Not only that, you have tunnels.
and I think Worthy probably looks at you, Al, and Milliceps and tells you guys, "Well, I'll catch up with Captain Grutter a bit later. I'm sure that Miss Deptfo probably has her work cut out for trying to get this thing fixed or whatever. And I'm sure Kib is going to be
Mm.
fairly busy on the project." Um, he goes, he goes, for my part, I think I need to check back in at my shop. And he goes, you're welcome to join me if you so please, but I imagine you may have other business.
Mm.
Yeah, I could join you for a bit. You're headed the same way I am eventually, right?
Well, I'm headed back to my shop. Are you?
Well, yeah, but later on you're going to be headed back over to the bar, right?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
Down to boards, of course.
works.
He was he says, well, you're welcome to look around the shop and certainly free to browse our index of available teas. I'm afraid I have some paperwork to do. He
Indeed.
goes, uh, but yeah, he's going to head back to his shop. And the Paper Leaf Tea Trading Company shop is, there's a kiosk where they've got like a list of things you can order in, like different, like, the biggest catalog is for tea, obviously. But they've also got like, various other different like, things that they sell. They move other kinds of like they've got catalogs for most things that you're going to want to buy in most legal systems.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
there's
they
furniture.
are. Was it? They are the Sky Mall of tea companies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like
So, do they
like
have
they
a medicinal tea section?
yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, I mean, they probably have like some they have plenty of herbal remedies and sort of like old school teas and kind of traditional kind of things like that. Yeah.
And can you order can you get like raw loose leaf?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they deal in pretty much all things tea
So,
related.
what I want to do is I want to make a medicine check to basically get the herbs required to make a tea to boost a person's constitution, essentially. And
Ooh.
can I use mysticism to try and add in a spell and or my symbiote powers into it? Basically, infuse it with a
So
little bit of magic.
it sounds like you're talking about a personal upgrade. Um, it's not like something that I mean, it doesn't work like a
Well,
potion or anything. So
Is it
in
permanent or is it
Starfinder?
temporary?
Well,
I
in
would say it
Star,
was
hold on.
temporary, like a potion, but
In Starfinder, there is a thing called personal upgrades that are augments that don't count against your limit of augments, but they follow special rules. And there are 3 marks of them, and you can only have 1 of each mark, but they boost stats. Now, the way it's written in the book allows you to narratively define what that looks like, and you classify it as mysticism or, a mystical enhancement or as a technological one or a hybrid one.
yeah.
Um,
What
in this
basically what I
case,
was wanting to do was make essentially a magic potion, but
I don't think they have a potion that temporarily increases constitution.
I'm looking at
Uh,
serums right now. Technically, it would just be a different way to make the serum and take it,
right, I get
but I'm
that,
not
but
finding that right now.
I think the reason they don't do that is because they have the whole personal upgrade thing.
gotcha. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then
But you absolutely can buy a personal, like your level. What level are you?
4.
So you should be able to buy at least a Mark 1 personal upgrade, which would give a +2 bonus permanently to the ability score of whoever it is for.
Okay.
And it'll cost credits. Um, let's see. For a personal upgrade.
'Cause the first one's
1,300.
not bad.
So
1,300.
so for 1,300 credits, you can buy a personal upgrade, and narratively, it's a tea that you're making.
Okay.
Uh, and narratively, it's a tea that you're making. Now, when you get high enough level to get a Mark II, you can obviously buy a Mark II, but it's going to have to be of a different ability score. Or you can do it as a Mark II and then replace your Mark One with because it doesn't. You can't get like a Mark One, Mark Two, Mark Three, and they're all in the same ability score. They all have to be in different ones. But you can change upgrade as you go along.
Yeah, so like if
The
you got the
abilities,
Mark II and decided that you still wanted to use it as Constitution, you just pay the difference
and
Okay.
then
and
it's
upgrade that one to the level 2, and then you'd have the spot available for a level 1 and a different set.
yep. And you could at that level be like, I want to buy an upgrade for my dexterity, or for my charisma, or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and that could be how your personal upgrades look.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to hedge the bet, you know, for tonight, and I was going to use this as an opportunity to kind of launder some money from the casino through their system.
Right,
Uh,
right. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't. I think the stat boost thing is mostly just a like personal upgrade
Gotcha.
thing. I think the serums work a little differently. They're more different kinds of effects.
All right.
If I find one later on, I'll let you know. I'll message you. Um, but I don't recall. Uh,
Gotcha.
because there are some things that are different. Well, it does you operate on the sort of D20 3.5 system for the most part. They change just enough of it up that some things don't like magic
Yeah,
doesn't always operate the same way as D as 3.5.
Facts.
that's fair.
Um, particularly magic items is because they have level scaled items. Magic items are way different.
Yeah.
Um,
No problem.
But yeah, you're able to. But yeah, you can find like plenty of teas that help you rest. Like they're probably teas that do that you can make that do other medicinal effects, like
Is there poisons that would
Yes.
weaken someone else? So instead of boosting someone, you're weakening them.
there are poisons, but that is a
It's not
bit
like
of a
harmful.
different mark. No,
Right.
it could nothing that's let's see. So poisons are weird in this system, and there are a few that are listed. Um, so where are poisons? And how poisons work is they do a certain amount of damage, and then they start
Starfinder
stacking up.
Core Rulebook,
Hang
page
on, hang on.
232.
232.
Yeah, and also Character Operations Manual 127. Uh, also Armory, page 133. Yeah, 237 should get you the basic list.
Yeah, 232, 232, 233 doesn't tell you a whole lot there. I need to.
Yeah,
It's
so page
that's the equipment
419.
page. It tells you what level, how much each level of poison costs, but it doesn't tell you any of the actual statistical effects.
Okay, so page 419, Core Rulebook.
So,
419. Let's
like,
see.
you could potentially get a hold of some idmos or some insanity mist.
Or
Um,
possibly Morph Inhibitor, but it'd cost you percent more. Gives you fourth. That means you could get fifth level stuff, but at a 50% markup.
I'm not sure if I even have any money left, or if I've made
uh,
any money.
I'm going
I
to
don't know. You get paid for a different company than us, so
Oh,
probably.
there's a weakened stat. Interesting. Poison intelligence poison track.
here. I'm having a hard time getting to 419 for some reason. There we are. Yep.
Constitution poison tracks. Weakened.
So if you're looking at
415 and 419. Curses. Let's poisons. Here we go.
so you're looking at
I'm looking at 19 now.
so there is a constitution poison. Let's see penalty from see they still have to make their initial save.
Track wisdom, strength. Yeah, blue.
Drugs, curses, poison. Let's see drugs versus.
Type. Poison type injury. What does that mean?
Well, it means you have to injure the person to deliver the poison.
Oh, so it has to be entered through the bloodstream. Can't be
Mm,
ingested? Gotcha. Yeah, they have an intelligence one, which is ingested. They have an inhaled one, which is wisdom. Um, charisma inhaled. Interesting. Hmm.
uh, yeah, this app is saying I have 0 credits, so
All right.
But we had
Well,
to have earned some money, right? We could
well,
leverage
hold
our
on.
net worth at least.
Well, let me look at something really quick here. Where is? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. I need Galaxy Opera, uh, Galaxy One, which should be in this book or in this file, but is for some reason not.
232.
Is there? Give me half a second here. I'll be right back.
Okay. Poisons. Okay.
sorry, I didn't think it would.
You're good. So the price for the one that was Constitution is like 1,400 basically for one dose. Huh. That would be considered level 8.
Sorry, I had to the stack I was looking for, I had to go to another stack, and the other stack was farther away than my. Yeah, it's not in that stack either, is it? Nope.
So
Yeah, it is. It's right there. Hold on. I'm going to.
what level are we?
You're what, fourth
Currently.
level, right?
Yeah,
So
Uh,
hmm.
so. Oh, I don't even need that. I need this real quick. So. Hmm. Man, I need to get another cover of my Starfinder book. It's another core hardcover. Let's see, because this one is falling apart. It's got the spine issue that they have. Let's see. So looking at, oh, I know what I was looking for. 391.
Hmm.
So wealth gain per. You each have 1,400 credits that you have earned in the
1,000.
interim.
Okay. 1,400. Write that
Hmm?
down.
gotcha. So I can't really afford that kind of.
That's on if you ask the woman for an advance.
That's true. Net worth.
True.
Technically, if you could find the parts, you could make it yourself, but it still costs the same.
Yeah. But
In
I can.
fact, no, we don't have anything like you want. We only have some white petal.
Uh, yeah. Can I ask for an advance on that?
Well, did you show up to the docking bay to meet the
We're still at
Chancellor and Kib?
the tea shop, if I'm not mistaken, right
Yeah, I
now.
went
Oh,
to the tea shop and I was going to do that whole thing. So since can't do that, my
you do have
character's
my
probably
personal
just
comms number.
yeah, my character's probably just gonna be like, well, I guess I'll just get a poison on the way there, and he'd make his way back to the rest of the party. Sorry.
Very good.
Hmm. Well, Moscus are both throughout the next few couple hours. Both Moscus and Kra Hara arrive, both with a certain amount of fanfare. Um, uh, as far like when do do any of you go to like went to like see them arrive, or you just kind of like wait until the contest to see them?
No, we make sure they have an adequate fanfare, but I'm not going to give up for.
Cool.
And I'm sure Kib has better things to do. But if he wants to go see people that are only famous for being, famous,
Now, Gibbs working on running up the diagnostics on what parts are going to need to fix the ship, what to do to fix it,
I
It's
would
great.
like
and the write up.
I would like to make sure that they're both examined before they start drinking. Have them blow their blood alcohol content, that sort of thing. Make that part of the deal.
What, have what, Dr. Oglehop go take a look at him?
Well, unless Korad is, back on board. Otherwise, yes, the doctor, if we can find him. Otherwise, I guess I can do it. I have ranks in medicine.
Well, I think Dr. Oglehop probably gives him the once over and takes a look at, and when he comes back to you, he's like, and probably like
Like,
they both probably like take a little bit like our like maybe Karahara is a little put out by the fact that this is a thing, but the Nuar Moscus is not it doesn't seem worried about it. I mean, he's a gladiator. He's used to going through physical inspections before
hey, I just want
contests.
this to be a legit match so that we're properly giving winning rights to whoever did it without fucking enhancement. Like, it's a drinking contest. Why are we cheating? No one gets to cheat in a drinking contest.
Well, I think what Dr. Oglehop probably said like as they're sort of like setting up to try to do this contest, I think Dr. Oglehop probably kind of was like, whoa, that one. Because I mean, Ganses are weird to begin with, but I mean that one, because that one knows how to change their body chemistry. And he doesn't really like, he says this in like a fucking stage whisper. It's like, they know how to change their body chemistry, man.
Hmm.
Like I've only seen this a couple of times, man. I've heard of these kind of guys. He goes, the new are like Moscus, great shape, man. Absolutely just like fighting shape, good. He's like, he goes, yeah, he's like, but I don't think he's gonna win. He goes,
Hmm. So, how much of an advantage, Doctor, would you say this?
well, I'd say Karahuraz between being a Ganzi and being the kind of person who can change their biology. I'd say they've got a I'd say that they've got a solid advantage. Like and he's probably like he's like and maybe like and there's a lot of noise going on around you, but you do see like uh Captain Worthy like notice it, who's standing nearby, kind of looks at Dr. Oglehop when he says this, and then looks back to what's going on.
Hmm.
Um, Sestra seems
I
to pick up
I
on it too, because she's definitely here for this.
I get out my comms and I text the doctor, but don't send it to him because
Hmm.
Um, and what my text says when I hand my phone to him is, "Do you have anything that would equal the ground?"
And he's like, he kind of shakes his notice. He's like, nah. He's like, what that guy can do, I can't. He goes, what that guy can do, I can't make a way for somebody else to do what he does.
Okay.
I mean, I can give him a temporary like boost to help him, but I mean, I can change a person's biology to some degree. Pharmaceuticals work wonders, but he does works on a cellular, molecular level.
Hmm.
Cellular level anyway.
All right, I text no, Maleficent, and I'm like, change.
Maleficent.
Yeah, no,
Milliseps.
okay,
Milliceps.
yes, I text them both. But anyway, I'm
Text
like,
them both.
yeah, change the odds on the new R to.
Cut out, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, go ahead and change the odds on the new R. They were just 2 to 1.
You're just 2 to 1.
Okay. Done.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There's
Uh, I go over. I assume he has a manager.
He's got an entourage of people around him. Both of them do.
Mm.
And they don't, but their entourage doesn't see. Their entourage seems to have a certain amount of antipathy between them, although Moscus and Craw seem to be mostly focused on the competition and each other rather than their respective entourages.
All right, let's see if I did this. So I walk up to him. Oh, that's not bad. And I'm like, so I have some insider information
Who you walk up to?
to the new R himself. We'll see if
Yeah,
somebody gets in my way.
Moscus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe like an ASMR stops you and he's like, "Hey, hey, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And like maybe somebody else in the crowd is like, so maybe somebody from the crowd is like, "Hey, watch yourself. That's the." He's like, that's the ruling council of the station." He's like, "You want to get
I glare
thrown
at
in
them.
a corpse? You want to get thrown in a corpse recycler?" or something, and the ASMR looks at the guy and kind of looks back at you, and he's like, "Huh?" And the Nuar kind of turns and looks down at him. And he's like, "It's okay, it's okay. I'm." He goes, "I'm pretty sure that I can." "I'm pretty sure I can handle uh a couple of questions." Or I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure. He's like, "I'm pretty sure I can handle an autograph." And he's
Well,
like,
all right. So my diplomacy check was a 20.
"Oh, okay."
So
Um,
my
yeah,
intimidation when that guy started to stop me, but it was above 15. So at least it wasn't, ha ha ha. Whatever,
yeah,
lady, get the hell out of here. But
yeah,
I'm like, excuse me. Apparently, you don't know who the heck I am. I am Philip
yeah.
Defoe, and this is my space station. And through all of that, this is also my casino. So I
Well,
wanted to
it's
bring it
actually
to
a
your
board.
attention.
So,
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Well, it's still my boards,
so
as much as anyone can own a boards. Um, still my space station.
he kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, I trust you." He goes, "I trust that the words that you are about to impart don't include an omission of our ability to have a simple drinking contest here. Would be
No,
unsporting."
that's not my cup of tea. As far as it goes, I am more than packed worlds, or even the Vescarium might go. Are you
Ye-
sure you want to do that?
Yeah, you cut out there through half of that.
Oh man, it's always better the first time.
It's true.
All right, let's try again. What's the last thing you heard?
Um, you were explaining who you were, and then you started to talk about I think your reputation from what little pieces I got out of that, but I wasn't sure.
Mm.
I think,
So as far as it goes, it's my space station, and I was here to bring you up to speed on current events. So my doctor, and I point towards Doctor Oglehop, who's in the distance now, uh, ran some scans on both of you. Your opponent has a distinct advantage because they, on a chemical level, can change their stuff up. What's the word I'm looking for?
Molecular biology.
Yeah, they can change their internal biology. So they have a distinct advantage in this that you need to be aware.
he kind
Uh,
of
the only thing I can think of to do is give them an amount of alcohol before we start that brings them already up to where you should be to begin. Does that make sense?
He kind of chuckles at the he goes, ah, he goes, well, I'm glad to meet you. And he goes, it is good to meet you. And uh, I, and he goes, he goes, the winged chalice thanks you for allowing us to have this worthy competition upon your station. He's like,
Absolutely. I'm sure it will be marvelous, but I wanted you to be aware.
he goes, and he kind of looks at you, chuckles, he goes, I wasn't quite aware of those abilities, but I understand he's taken on many experienced drinkers in one. You don't get to be champion by challenging anyone who hasn't been champion. He goes, he goes, he says, he goes, it'll make for a much more epic tale when I beat him and others find and the people find out the advantage that he had.
Mm. I look again to my casino employees and go, you know, I trust his bravery and skill. I'm going to go ahead and put 1,000 credits on him,
Well,
on top of the 500 I have on both of them.
oh,
All right. So, in that case, since you brought up the speed, it was nice to meet you. Uh, keep your SMR in check, and good luck.
he's like he he uh he nods and he says he's like the honor of the winged chalice is at stake. I will not lose to some amber wreath decadent fool. And
Wait a minute.
the and Craw kind of looks back at him and goes, if you say so, where's those drinks? And he just kind of like
Yeah.
claps his hands together and starts rubbing them together.
I
And
text
by the way,
Kib and tell him to check the list for this guy's name.
Hurrah for his part,
Hmm.
he has um he looks mostly human, but he has like his hair looks like it's made from well, it looks like his hair has scales, to be fair.
Interesting.
Like
But is
and
his name
there's
on the list?
on the hold on a second. Let me finish the description.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um he's got like his hair is sort of like green and scaly looking. Um and like his eyes have like an almost have like a cat-like quality to them, but that have a cat-like quality to them. And there is a
Mm.
and his skin has mottled spots of like metallic colors across it. In various striations and patterns that make no real sense to the sane mind. Um, but as far as Krahara goes, he's not actually on the list.
Okay.
Um, but
I just wanted
he,
to make sure since he was an Amber Reese person.
yeah, and he and
Also,
yeah,
after I find that out, I text security and beef up security. I'm like, some people are pulling overtime for this event.
yeah, okay, cool, yeah. So the stage is set. Um, and the contest is the contest kind of like goes through, and it's a hell of a contest. There's several minutes, they're time, they go, you know,
Yeah, they're playing Death
mug for
Clock,
mug.
except instead of being shot for shot on alcohol, it's mug for mug. So
Oh yeah,
every minute on the minute, they're both fucking taking the big,
oh
chug
yeah,
and then talking trash until the next one.
oh yeah, yeah. And both of their like entourages are like adding to the shit talking and and whatnot. And I think you probably see some of your security people here, and around. Like, definitely Dovry is here, and
Right. I make
Dovry,
contact or eye contact with each of them as they're seen and nod in approval of what they're doing.
yeah, and I think Dovry, for her part, she looks less attentive to the crowd than the others. She looks like she's more intent on the drinking contest. She's got herself set up, um, but she's got herself set up at the bar with a good view. At a spot where she's got a pretty good view of the goings on. Um, and I think as it goes on, it finally comes down to it finally comes down to like a lot of the crowd has thinned out by this point. Like at this point, only the most passionate followers of this thing are still here. A lot of people who have stuff to do in the morning, or a cargo run they got to make, or whatever other things they got to do have thinned. um, but eventually Craw manages to win by a mug. um, and Moscas, his crew, like, and there's a moment where you expect there to be a fight, and Dovry kind of seems to expect it too, because she sort of becomes more attentive, as the two entourages kind of get in each other's faces a little bit. But Craw Hurrah, drunkenly waving his hand, drunkenly stumbling between them and waving his hand around. It's like, no, it's a good contest. We're we guys no, we don't need to do all that. It's fucking fine. He's like, so I just insult our host, right? And he's a little and the rest of them kind of look at you for a minute, and you they they have different expressions. Some of them kind of look sour, some of them look curious, some of them look um you know some of them look like that look like somebody just put them reminded them of something they should remember. The followers of art, the Winged Cup, like, for their part, they're happy to walk away without fighting, once Craw pretty much puts it that way. They're like, oh, fine, fine. As soon as he says something about insulting their host, they're like, nope, we're not going to do that. Like, not because but it seems like it's less out of fear and more out of, oh yeah, that would be rude. Um, Whereas the Amber Wreath, their sort of thing is a little bit more disjointed. Their response is kind of like, some of them kind of grumble as they walk away, clearly, not happy with um being told they have to, chill. Um, but I think you get a text, Kib, like later that evening, like, or earlier that morning, whatever it is, like way later, you get a basic text transmission to your workstation, um, or that reads that only reads, "What is Operation Topaz?" And a question mark. There's no there is no identifier as to who sent this.
Bum bum
There's no way
bum.
of back tracing the like
Give me a
It
somehow it
sounds
computer.
like
got
computers.
it
Yeah.
had to bounce from something to something to something, follow the trail kind of to figure out generally what it is, or follow the message that bounces back. It, for the message that I send back that says, still looking into it, will get to you when I have the answer.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And you don't get any further response from it, and just kind of, that's a question you got. Millicepts. Um, and AL. You have like I think maybe this is probably one of those where like like you have kind of a deal going on with you have a deal with a couple of smugglers coming in, bringing in liquor stocks, some various liquor stocks down down in the like the shuttle bay or at the dock. Actually, probably at the docking, because you can only dock what, two shuttles in the shuttle bay or one?
In the
I
shuttle bay, only one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think you like have to like I think you have to go to the docking bay, the sort of docking area, um, to meet one of your smuggler contacts.
all right. Well,
Oh, Millicent's boss.
yeah,
So, about our contract, have you been looking into uh, the information I'm looking for?
yeah. I have something that might be a lead in my office, but you know, it, it's kind of hard to figure out what's going on with multiple personalities inside of a single.
I understand.
It's a little bit more complicated, but it should help me to focus a little bit better on where the core of it is. You know, what
I've been
ties all of them together.
I've been approached by two different people about I guess our little contract.
Yeah.
They uh, they they think that they can provide better information. So I'm just wondering how this like if they do happen to provide a lead, is there anything that you can provide towards that? Means, funds, and stuff like that.
Well, that depends on what you need.
Well, we'll find out. I was approached by some androids. I don't know if you'd be interested in smuggling androids to freedom, but I'm pretty sure the Philip might be interested in it.
Hmm. So, you asking for a favor?
They said that they would be willing to. They would give me information if I got word to Philip. And you have Philip in his ear. You know.
That I do. Yeah, I can shoot Philip a message,
All right.
and
Appreciate it.
yeah, we can get you sorted. I did
If
say
you
I'm a man of my word.
if you shoot Philip that message, he's incredibly interested.
Okay, well, yeah, Millisips is gonna shoot Philip the message, and head down to meet his smuggling contact. And it's basically just going to be a message of, hey, there's some androids that wish to help out Alistair with figuring out what's going on with his model. And they say all they need is smuggling across a couple of systems in order to start their own empire or something.
Excellent. Excellent. I've been trying to talk to those people for almost a year. I'm glad they're on board. I will set something up to meet them shortly.
All right.
And I send you $1,000 bonus. Sorry, credit bonus.
Ooh, money.
Appreciate it, boss. All right.
I'm erasing that now, just.
Okay.
Ah,
Millicept, you are on your way to meet your contact, and you are stopped by the Velquin investigation team. Like they're a couple of like Kyle, shadow people as sort of like with their with their pistols holstered, but there's a hand, like about five of them, and at the head of
I
them,
meet them with my eyes change blue and my blade comes out and meets one of their necks, not hitting them,
well,
just
here's
meets
the
to their
thing.
necks.
Hold on. At the head of them is a figure dressed in a very large, bulky suit, and there seems to be when you look in the faceplate, there doesn't seem to be a person inside, just some swirling gas. And it speaks. It says, "Pardon me, Mr. Milliceps,
My reaction's
Mr.
still the same.
A.L. My name is Lack of Stillness. I have been dispatched from the imperial court of the Velquin Empire to search for security leaks about the security leaks of of a top secret meeting between Countess Sarivia and the leaders of this station. I understand that you have a very close working relationship with them. How much do you know about the day-to-day operations and diplomatic functions that your employers are involved in?"
Like I said, I
I just know that there are a couple of swell guys that I'm glad to have on board with my operations, and when I can help them out, I enjoy working with them greatly.
Have they ever entrusted you with any information about any of their plans with their plans meeting diplomatic representatives, or have they ever charged you with taking care of diplomatic meetings?
The only diplomatic meetings I take care of are those that are represented by the Merchants Guild.
Indeed. He goes, and they seem to pause for a moment. Lack of stillness seems to pause, and there's a bit of like the gases swirl around for a
Can
minute.
I get a life science to identify what this guy's race is?
Yeah, you can try. You can try life science.
Okay, that's 16.
You are not quite certain. Um, he looks at you again, and he's like, "Well, it's hard to tell if he's looking or not, but he seems to like he addresses you again and goes, in your dealings in the merchant guild, have you heard?" He says, actually, he goes, "What do you know about the Velquin Empire or the Girin Empire?"
Two empires at war? I mean, would that be accurate to say?
That is accurate. He goes,
Okay.
"Were you aware of Countess Serivia's meeting with Miss Philip Defoe and Mr. Kibb prior to her assassination?"
My memory's a little bit foggy on that one.
Yeah. Any kind of, I think there's a moment. And what is your, let me see something. What is your level? Or let's see something here. I need to look at him real quick.
it was 4 for us. So.
Still nothing. Go back to, it'll be on feats. Yes. Okay. No, 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 no. No. Okay. I think I think he probably uh, asks you, is like, what do you know about the Amber Wreath?
Do you grill every single individual that comes through here? I'm been
Only the
trying to get to
ones
my contact.
only the ones who have the potential knowledge, who have potentially sensitive knowledge.
What do you base this on?
By the fact that you were one of the first merchants to arrive on on the on the station, we also suspect you have a connection to a criminal syndicate known as the Grimbuckle Syndicate. People
Okay.
with it says
Master, shall I remove him?
that you feel like the cold barrel of a gun behind you, like on the back of your neck, and there's a whisper. I wouldn't recommend that.
I'm going
And
to hit a comms unit. I'm going to activate my comms unit and send this in a direct message to Philip.
he goes,
Oh,
please, if everyone will put their weapons down. This is an investigation, not a. He goes, this is an investigation, not a base melee. And and
I do answer if you call me.
and
Yeah, I'm calling you up, and I'm just going to basically let them speak.
he's like, he's like, I'll ask again. Did you have prior knowledge of Countess Serivia's meeting with the leaders of this station,
And
Not
then
or
correct.
her
we're going to
travel
cut
to
the
it?
feed.
Okay, so once I hear his voice, I know it well, even though
Yeah,
we've only met once. And I go, oh, not Karad. Who is it? Um, your boss. Starts with a C.
who's boss?
Their boss, technically. Brother of Isaac.
Oh, Crinville starts with a K,
Yeah,
by the way.
Crinville.
sorry. Crinville should have actually let you guys know ahead of time that the guy was. My apologies, sir. There was a, I say two, what is it? Hovers in the air. Um,
Hmm?
Lack of stillness. I'm sorry, lack of stillness. They were unaware that these were about to occur. An appointment actually probably should have been set up with them before you made it to them. All right, so this is the short version of this. In me trying to make an alliance with the Garen?
The
No, the
Belquin.
Velquin. Uh, with me trying to make an alliance with the Velquin, one of their diplomats on their way to here was dispatched in a most notorious way, and these people have been sent to investigate that. And unfortunately, it is one of the things that we're doing as a business thing. Um, Crenville has already spoke with this man and given him prior details for all of the important people and who's been here the longest. Try to give them short and simple answers. They're not here to bust us for anything extra that we do on the side. They are merely trying to figure out if there was a hole in the defenses that came from here, and that is why they're here.
Okay. Well, knowing that
My blade is still
Milliceps,
up.
But
Milliceps is going to, kind of just push down the blade a little bit.
Like,
It's like,
yeah,
my apologies. Um, just a thing when the authority figures approaching me, asking a whole bunch of questions, and me not being sure what to say. You know how it is.
he goes,
Uh,
the entire reason we approached you this way is to catch you off guard. Had you known something, there was a likelihood you may have given up the game. For the time being,
best not to approach me that way.
he says, he says, he says, for the time being, I don't believe you had anything to do with it. And he says, they're like, he says, but he goes, if you come across any information that may suggest a whole insecurity here that may have led to the death of a Velquin noble, please send it to me.
If I come across anything, I will send it directly to you.
And he turns around and looks at his entourage, and he looks at the Kale that was standing right behind Al. Hesha, I believe it is time we focus our investigation in a different direction. And Hesha kind of looks at you, Al, and gives you just like a slight smile. Like the other contingent that was with him, like the one that you were putting your knife up to, looks at you, just kind of looks at you from behind, his helmet, and you can't really see through it. It's he's got his opaque, and he just kind of looks at you for a minute, um, and Hesha nods at him, and he continues on, and there's a and they can continue moving along.
I watch them until they're out of view, and then
Hmm.
quickly turn around and like look at Milliceps, and I get down and fix his suit. Like,
I fucking
"Sir,
hate cops.
do they harm anything on you,
I
Master?"
fucking hate cops. Dear
I
God.
know, I know.
Yeah, I think, and I think like fucking Dr. Oglehop comes down the hallway from the same direction that they turned off in, and is coming the other direction. He's walking past you. He goes, "Whoa, man!" He looks at you. He looks at you. He goes, "It's a day for seeing different kinds of people here. Like all kinds, man." He's like, "Did you see that fear? Do you know that they're like made of gas? Like they're gas. They're like
Oh,
a."
was that what that was?
He's like,
It slipped my mind. You see,
he's like,
Master,
asshole
he's
was trying to grill me.
"Oh
Master.
man,
He's
like
always
they're
like this. Don't mind him.
well, they're like telepathic and like really smart, and they're just like." He goes, he goes, "Man, oh wait, that's the one that what's his name? Count Gessive, Count Ressive, Count Lessive. He's the one that came with that count from the Velcro Empire." He's like, he goes, "Oh, I got to talk to him earlier, but he didn't answer very many of my questions."
But like, even though like Allie is like being dismissive, she doesn't make eye contact with with Oglehop. Um and there's like a sense of like I don't know, like fear and she
Oh,
can't place it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Urkelhop. That was very informative. But I do got to get headed out and get to this meeting. It was great seeing you, though.
here you go. He's like, "Right on, man." He's like, "Huh." He's like, "By the way, um, oh wait, no.
What?
What? Oh yeah." And he kind of walks off. And he's fucking, he's kind of
Millicep's
like,
just gonna kind of shake his head and make his way towards the smuggler.
He's such a disgusting creature.
yeah. But you
Uh,
you manage to get down there, and the smuggler you're talking to, the smuggler is what like your contact is. Madsy is her name, and she's kind of sitting down there waiting. Mm, she's a half elf, um, and like she's kind of standing there with one of her crew members. She's when you approach, she's like um, well, actually, she's probably not meeting you. Well, yeah, I said it at docking. Yeah, she's like, Um, she goes, so, she's like,
Out with it.
so they're, she's like, this was a little harder to get than you might think. The Loofridge system is, a hotbed right now, to say the least. She goes, I'm feeling like this cargo's worth a bit more than our original agreed upon price.
Hmm. Let me go ahead and what would the check be to determine
This,
value?
it, if you want to haggle with her, that's diplomacy. If you want to take a look at and inspect the cargo, then I would say probably a perception check. But either way, haggling the price is going to be diplomacy.
Okay. Well, we could just start with diplomacy then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 23.
All right. I think she's like, look, what do you say here?
Uh, let me let me I guess try to get a what was the agreed upon amount? Maybe I
Like
should have asked that.
like this is not like anything that's coming out of your personal credits. This is coming out of syndicate money. So you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about necessarily hard numbers.
Oh, okay.
But because this is because it's
I'm
for
gonna
the
try and
casino, it's the
yeah,
syndicate's money, but you're like I could understand where you try to get a better price.
yeah.
Is it like
So
percentages instead?
Yeah, let's do percentages.
it,
So I'm going
yeah,
to try and upsell her about 20%. My character's going to try and pocket 5% of that.
right. So you're trying to make some profit off of this diplomacy check. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, let me look at my notes here as far as what that would be. DC was, yeah, I think you're able to talk her down a little bit. Um, let's see. I'll look something here. Let's see. I think you're able to pocket, 500 credits off the deal.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, uh, you're able to do that. But Madsy is kind of looking at you. She's like, gotta tell you, things are getting dangerous in the Loofridge system. There's the orcs and the goblins aren't playing around over there. Like,
Gotcha. Is it swinging one way or another in particular?
well, the hegemony of the Long Tusks has well, they're currently occupying a number of worlds in the Loofridge system. And the goblins have a resistance front up. They're putting up a hell of a fight, and there have been some, but I think I think you'd mostly well, the Long Tusks are consider them little more than terrorists, but their fighting is fierce enough that any action in the Loofridge system carries a lot of extra risk these days. This
Yeah.
might be the last time I can give you a break on the price.
All right. I'm going to talk it over with Cazador. Um, but if you'd be willing to continue to make these ventures out, we could perhaps talk about getting you some upgraded cloaking or something to get you through that area a little bit swifter.
Like, well, she's like, I just figured I'd let you know. Oh, she's like, and I think she's like, oh, I came across something the other day. Oh, rumor. Says, somebody's telling me, somebody said that there's, too much Terevian nectar on the market. You know what that
Peruvian
means?
nectar?
Yeah, like
What knowledge check would I need to identify that?
you probably don't need any at this point because Terevian nectar is kind of well known, and
Um,
as you're running a drinking establishment, it'd be your business to know. So, and because you're part of a criminal syndicate, it's your business to know. The Terevian nectar, so it comes from a place called Terevia, which is a planet that supposedly was just that was supposedly fell to that was supposedly lost before the gap, like destroyed or lost before the gap. They were said to have been like a major tourist destination with like the best, like all of the best, stuff any sensate would ever want. Like, and Terevian nectar is an alcoholic drink that also functions as an aphrodisiac that directly impacts the sense of touch in most humanoid creatures, enhancing the sense of touch. So it's a very powerful thing. And she's like, and somebody said they heard a rumor that Terevia is not gone. That there's too much Terevian nectar in the market for a lost planet. She said, "You happen to know anything about that?"
do I?
I I don't know. It depends on if Philip has said anything to you about it or not, or Kib.
No.
About
Um,
Terevia?
Yeah,
yeah,
about Terevia.
Probably not, honestly.
Yeah,
Terevia still
yeah,
technically goes along with what, the list is and all of that.
right,
gotcha.
right. So
But
this would
you
be the
would know
first you're
about
hearing of it.
Terevian nectar because
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a rare delicacy from a planet that, I mean, that part's known, right? The planet's not there.
yeah. It's known that the planet was lost. The entire planet was lost sometime before the gap.
Okay.
Much like Glorion.
Well, that's a
I
very
think
interesting
Galorian.
piece of information.
I think Galorian was lost during the gap. Terevia was lost before. I think is a distinction, but they do
Okay.
share that similar
Either way.
trait that they're both lost worlds. Um,
Well, that's definitely a very nice piece of information. Thank you for that. Um, you know what here, and my character's gonna pass her 100 credits
well,
as just kind of a courtesy.
she's like, it's nice doing business with you. And she's like, look, I got to get on with it. There's
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
there's there's some bounty hunters chasing my tail, and the my understanding is that the bounty hunters guild in this section of sector of space doesn't exactly recognize the sovereignty of this station. And she,
Gotcha.
she, and she's like, is, if I hear anything more, I'll let you know, and I'll be back around to check if there's any more extra work. It's like,
Yeah, if you hear about anything, here's my number. If you just want to come back and ping me if you learn anything else about how the market's going or about supplies that you have come across and pillaged or, you know, trends you've seen. I would
like,
gladly pay you for more information like that.
she's like, Sounds like a deal. If you continue to pay for the information, I'll bring what I can back to you.
Excellent. Thank you.
And she kind of like grabs her crew, she grabs her crewmate. She's like, "Come on, we gotta go." And she's like, "Besides, rumor has it there's some muckety muck investigator from the Velquin Empire on board. I don't want to run across him.
Yeah, he's
I don't want to
unpleasant
cross
to say the
paths."
least.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, like, yeah, they take off to leave.
Okay. At that point, I'm going to hit up Philip on the comms, and it's like, "Hey, just got an interesting bit of news from a friend of mine."
You made friends with the gas?
No, well, yes, but cops are just not my. Um,
Mhm. The amount of money I would have lost for not allowing him on board would not have been worth it. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I
it's
also
fine. It's
am
fine.
not fond of the police in any form.
Yeah. But I recently heard that. What was the name of it? Veliquin.
The Velquin Empire.
Uh, like the wine,
Oh, the Terevian nectar.
Terevian. Terevian.
What about
Um,
Trivia?
So apparently, there's too much Terevian nectar flooding the market right now,
I
which
see.
is very interesting to me because that's normally a rare drink.
Well, yeah. I mean, when a planet disappears, normally what you have. That is interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
might be something to look into in the future.
Hang on. Technically, this conversation requires me to make you bluff check. No, 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 no.
And you can make an opposed sense motive check to see if Philip is hiding something.
Okay.
Lolo.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, what?
All
Good,
right,
good.
boss. I trust you implicitly.
Eh.
What?
It sounds like something we should look into, though. I'll make
Definitely.
it
Yeah.
a not necessarily a priority, but we'll get it done.
All right.
Though, if either they're faking it and doing a good job at it, or we can pick up a bunch at a low price.
Indeed.
Maybe both.
All
Hey, if it's
right.
good enough, they won't know the difference, will they?
True. I say, honestly, I don't know if I would know the difference. And I'm a connoisseur of fine things. I
That you
mean,
are.
not amber wreath or anything, but still.
Mhm.
Anyway, I want you guys to know that you've been doing a great job. I'm sorry we've been busy and off the ship for so long, but unfortunately, I still require some hands on to get things done.
Well, we appreciate you making this a very lucrative venture so far, sir. It's been a pleasure to be on your station.
Right. Just remember, yeah, keep your profit sharing under 30% and I won't care.
Noted.
Yeah.
uh,
Remember, there are spies everywhere. And at this point, what is my official title in the
uh,
organization?
you're a member of the Grim Council.
Yeah. Remember, at this point, I am part of the Grim Buckles Syndicate.
Yes, sir, I
Uh,
remember.
yeah. And like I said, so long as you keep it under 30%, I don't think we'll have any problems.
Noted, sir.
All right. Other than that, keep your ear to the ground. If you hear anything juicy, always let me know.
Will do.
As you know, you just got a bonus. You always get bonuses for doing well.
Excellent. Yes, sir, I will continue to do well for you.
I think there's, yeah.
Oh, Did you mention to me about the androids? Because technically, I don't know.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess you did. I apologize.
yeah.
All right, but yeah, I definitely want to set that up next week.
Definitely.
'Cause
All
I've been trying to do that legitimately for a while now. Well,
right.
I understand the in betweens between you and AI. Not necessarily that I enjoy them, but so long as they're comfortable with your deal, I'm not going to stop that. Past that, it's the Garen that's the racist humans, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The Garen Empire has never made an excellent impression on me. First being, elitist as they are. And on more than one occasion has my life been saved by having an android present, whether it was just them being there or they specifically tried. Um, Everyone that has a soul deserves to be free, at least eventually. And contracted, that's different than an actual slave. So,
Yeah. I don't I consider them to be, you know, essentially their own person, you know.
exactly. Now, unfortunately, it seems that we all have far too much on our plates at the moment, and I've kept you away from the casino long enough.
Indeed.
Kib, join me in the office. You two have a wonderful rest of your day.
You have a great day as well, sir.
That sounds like a perfect place, Jester. We're already a little bit past
Yeah,
when we normally go.
that's what I was thinking about. So let's go ahead and get what in the hell? Why is this not doing what yeah, there we go. Uh yeah, so let's go ahead and start doing sign-offs. And everybody send me your Player's Choice Awards as well. Since we have four of
Oh
us here,
yeah,
it's worthwhile.
it's worthwhile every time. I vote no. When
So
there's only two of us, I vote for.
who wants to start us off?
Ooh.
Well, since we have guest stars, they should probably start tonight.
Hey,
And I will
it's
try to remember.
me. Rogue Gray Fox, also known as GGW Voice. You can catch me on YouTube streaming every now and then. We're trying to get back onto. We just streamed today, actually playing Baldur's Gate with Hoster here, and then we just
Yeah.
hopped on here. But typically, we play on Thursdays. And yeah, life has been crazy, but I do plan on getting back on the routine. Um, you just saw me playing AL, and yep, AL is making moves, trying to figure out, getting to the bottom of the mystery that is AL, and that's what I'm looking forward to. That's it.
All right. Hoster, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I'm Hoster. I pretty much accompany JJ with whatever we're doing on stream, either Baldur's Gate or D&D or whatnot over on his stream. I also run my own stream on DJ Kalyan on Twitch, but yeah, that's about it. I stream whenever I feel like it. So
All
Mm.
right. Still
Tonight,
missing Roguish Brew. I'm still missing your Player's Choice for
All right, I was
tonight,
trying to
I,
type
David
it.
the
I didn't
Gnome.
get that.
Sorry.
Tonight, I, David the Gnome, played Philip Defoe, the head person in charge of this little space station that managed not to explode tonight or get rammed into by a ship that was spiraling out of control. Um, this is the only thing I'm in right now, and I enjoy the heck out of it. Uh, Kib gets me into lots of trouble, and that's mostly my fault. Uh, Isekai, they're just so much trouble. And with that said, On to psychopathic himself.
Okay, I'm psyched. Scott, whatever, pick a name. But I was a good kid today. I pulled up an order to fix a ship, so I was good today. All right, what else? Eventually, when Lands of Barrio comes back, I'll be in that as my wonderful cat person. That I love playing that character, and I'm not sure when that's coming back. They're working on that, and that'll be fun. But mainly, I'm in this, and this is fun, and I love space chaos, and that's it.
On to
Awesome.
the one and only Just
Um,
King.
well, first things first, uh let's get some bookkeeping out of the way. What did I say here? What am I looking at? So everybody gets 1,200 XP.
Nice.
Um, and player's choice goes to Hoster. Hoster, you get an extra 50 XP.
Okay.
Let me find these.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. What was the XP again?
It was 1,200 a piece, and then Hoster gets the player's choice for 50 extra. And I think we get like I think we get like a quick like after credit scene here, post credit scene. Maybe we get Captain Percival Worthy, and he's kind of like and he's kind of waiting patiently in one of the cargo bays, and eventually, um, like somebody eventually there like we see a bit of a shadowy figure walk in, um, and we see like another one. And then we start to recognize the sort of shapes and the shapes a little bit more. And as they come into the light, and we see Captain Worthy looks at him and kind of nods and smiles. And as they come into the light, we see that it is Seven Regal Seven and Wentley 44. And Seven Regal Seven looks at Captain Worthy and says, "Do you have what I'm? Do you have what we agreed upon?" And Captain Worthy kind of looks at him and goes, "Of course." He goes, "Still not sure why all of the cloak and dagger. Pretty sure that the station would have been fine with this taking place here." He's like, and Seven Regal Seven just kind of looks at him and goes, "Unfortunately, the Bounty Hunters Guild doesn't consider this to be a sovereign entity. They could send bounty hunters here anytime without any warning." He's like, "There's so until such time as we can get something sorted out with that, afraid this is going to have to do." And Percival Worthy kind of shrugs and he says, "All right, all right." It was as promised. He points at and he kind of gestures to a number of crates and he says, and they're like, and Wentley looks at him and goes, "Are you serious, sir?" And he goes, and Worthy says, "They're sleeping. It was their idea. It was the only way to get past the blockade." He goes, "They'd have been on," as he kind of as he makes the air quotes, "we'd have got caught." And he goes, "I reckon that that's probably a good 100. That's a good 100 living holograms that I helped you liberate today." And he goes, let's try to keep it civil here, shall we?" And Seven Regal Seven looks at Wentley and is like, "I'm sure any minor and temporary indignity is well worth the price of freedom. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to keep them sleeping until we get until we get where we're going. Mr. Worthy, thank you for your services. Hopefully, we won't have to do this quite so undercover. I understand that there's a representative from the Verilax Concordance coming here. I'd rather avoid any complications with them as well. And they kind of look at each other, agreed. You can contact me next time you've got more intel. And the two of the, and they kind of like, and maybe we like, they sort of like, Worthy walks out of the cargo bay and we kind of fade out. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Justa King Zerat, and you can catch me here on Monday nights for Free Wheel Station. It was kind of interesting. Going into season 2, things are obviously changing and picking up a bit of speed here and there. Um, I'm really interested to see where some of this stuff goes. And thank you all for joining us. I believe that's all we've got for tonight. So let's bring out the dragon and get out of here.
Bring
Bring
out the
out the
dragon.
The
dragon!
dragon.
Dragon.